Hey there, it's time for the show, the Tatiana Show, where you make friends and talk life and crypto. This episode of The Tatiana Show has been brought to you by eToro.com. You can trade in a wide range of assets, connect with the crypto community, and automatically copy top-performing portfolios at eToro.com. Quite simply, they have the top currencies, smart tools, low fees, social trading, all in one simple app. Connect with over 11 million eToro traders around the world using social feeds. eToro makes powerful trading tools easy. Get started in minutes right now at eToro.com. That's eToro.com. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tatiana Show. Today, I am joined by my handsome co-host, Joshua Shigala, the CEO of Voltoro, my favorite gold and Bitcoin exchange. So, Josh, really nice to hear your voice. I'm happy that you're on the show with us today.
Thanks, Tatiana. What, you're not excited this time? No,
I am excited, but I feel like I do start the show always excited. I don't know. I mean, it's fun. You get to hang with your friends. You get to learn something. And today our topic is going to be around the arts. But anyway, I'm really looking forward to talking with DJ J Scrilla, who I just ran into in Las Vegas at the Unconfiscatable conference. I just came off of ETH Denver, where there was a ton of different artist use cases. And then I was on a blockchain hip hop panel in LA. So, I've kind of been thinking about that stuff for a while, obviously, and he's been doing a lot of really interesting things. So I'm looking forward to talking to him. He's got some new music coming out. And DJ J Scrilla, welcome to the Tatiana Show.
Hey, thanks for having me. What's up, Tatiana and Josh?
Cool. So, Scrilla, tell us, what are you up to right now? Tell us, what have you been working on? Give us a little bit of the latest, because you were on the show before. You're on with comedian Mike Salvi, who I love, hilarious guy. And, you've been in the game for a long time. So people who are not familiar with you, or maybe who haven't listened to that episode, can you give us a little bit of background on, how you got involved in music and then in the crypto space?
Yeah, sure. So I got involved in the crypto space, I guess around like 2013 is when I started getting into Bitcoin, learning about it and kind of joking around a lot about it. I went back to some old tweets, actually, like randomly somebody was saying, go look at your oldest Bitcoin tweet. And I didn't realize how much I tweeted about it back in 2013, but I didn't own any. I just kind of like made a lot of jokes about it. And then I made an album about it, The Silk Road in 2014. So I kind of really found out about it through that. And then, I just got really interested in it during like the 15 and 16 little booms before the mainstream booms, and started learning about what Bitcoin could do. And then going on from that, when Ethereum came out and talking about all the things you could do on Ethereum, and I got interested on that. But I ultimately came back to, Bitcoin being the thing that I was most excited about within the space. And then with the whole like crypto art stuff, started doing that in 2016 with the Rare Pepes and DJ Pepe, and then did a bunch of little art platform stuff throughout the 16 and 17. And then Ethereum kind of took over that whole market after the Crypto Art Fest in 2018 in January. A lot of money got sunk into it, so a lot of platforms popped up. I think a lot of innovation came out of that. So I started putting some art together and some music stuff through like Super Rare and some other ones on Ethereum. And at the same time, I've always been minting stuff on Bitcoin too, through Freeport or Counterparty or something. But where I'm at now is I would like to see kind of Bitcoin take a lot of this crypto art and tokenization stuff back. So I've been talking to some developers and people in Bitcoin and just trying to brainstorm about how that would work. Talk to you, Tatiana, about how that would look. And I think even like a blockchain agnostic thing is probably the move, because in general, most artists and people don't care about what blockchain is on. That's more for the technical side of things. But I guess me knowing some of the technical stuff and things like that, I still am more pro Bitcoin in terms of that. There's less solutions with Bitcoin now, but I feel like Bitcoin is the turtle, and Ethereum is the hare in this scenario.
So one of the things I wanted to talk to you about was specifically Counterparty versus Ethereum, because I think that those are the two main token creators. I think that EOS is working in that direction, but I don't even know if people are using it in that way. Although maybe the Wax people fork that blockchain. I don't remember. Anyway, so what do you think? Because I was just at ETH Denver and there was a ton of art around Ethereum, but when I kind of looked under the hood, because it was very flashy and colorful and exciting, but then when I looked under the hood asking some of the developers there, it seemed like it had some of the challenges that really hadn't been solved. And at the same time, Counterparty isn't perfect. They also have their problems. So what do you think is, what's your commentary on either of those platforms, since it sounds like you've used them both?
Yeah, well, I think the flashiness is definitely there with Ethereum, but that's because the money is there and the development is there. I think a lot of people made a lot of money off of Ethereum, in the last 4 years, especially, if you held it in like 15, 16 and sold it in 17, 18, there's a lot of money that bled over and people could sink a lot of money into those platforms. And there's just a lot of VC, there's a lot of VC stuff on Ethereum and with the crypto art space. So, I mean, there's going to be a lot more, I think, going on in that space. As far as Counterparty, I still love Counterparty. I think it's basic and it's simple, and it's the decentralized nature of what it could be is appealing to me. I just think Counterparty needs a lot more development. They always lack funds. They have a lot of what seems like infighting going on, though I think they got a new foundation. They're cleaning up and they're trying to make it better. I don't even know if Counterparty is ultimately the solution either, though. I just think, just using Freeport.io, it's a very simple thing that Joe Looney started. You can mint NFTs on Bitcoin. The thing is there's no platform associated with it. There's no fanciness. There's no Christie's and all these other big art galleries associated with it, because they're all with Ethereum pretty much. So there's just nothing. There's no incentive for a artist with a following really to go and like, oh, I'm gonna do this on Counterparty and put it up, because ultimately there's nothing for them to really show off their piece through the platform or integrate it into their website with good security and stuff like that. Those tools just aren't available. I think they'll come, but I think that's where we're at now. I think we're still just in an experimental phase, say like not price discovery phase, but whatever the opposite of that, creativity discovery phase with all these platforms. EOS, Tron, all these other ones are doing it too. I personally believe that if you're gonna have something valuable, it's kind of like with your wallets. Like, are you going to keep $10,000 on your open dime or a hot wallet or a mobile wallet or something? Probably not. Same thing. Are you going to keep like a expensive piece? I'd rather have it on Bitcoin because it's more secure and there's less chance of something happen to it. Ethereum is move fast and break things, and Ethereum and Bitcoin's not that. So if it's something that we're talking, like if it's just like a $1 NFT, a $10 NFT or something cool, it makes no difference, I feel like. But when it comes to more secure long term, and I wanted to have this hash available to me 20 years from now, I know the Bitcoin network will probably still be running. Not sure about Ethereum.
This is really the effects of the network effect, meaning as soon as the first mover starts gathering momentum, even if there's not that momentum behind them, there's infrastructure that's built for the initial momentum, even if it's slowed down through the bear market. And so, people that do use non-fungible tokens have all this infrastructure and open source infrastructure as well. So, it is very, very hard to dethrone that. Saying that, it would be really interesting to see what protocols like RGB, which is running on Lightning Network, will be able to do. We're hoping to put some resources towards developing on that for the tokenized gold stuff that we're doing at Voltoro. But it's the whole space is really interesting, and I do think that Ethereum has got a large runway ahead of it. And this is in terms of the network effect, because we've looked at, of course, what technology is the best, and there are faster technologies. There's also technologies that are faster but more centralized, like EOS, or that are slowly centralizing. But at the same time, when you say, hey, to a certain wallet, let's say Edge, hey, we want to do this non-fungible, let's start talking. At the end of the day, it comes down to, well, we've already implemented all the Ethereum stuff, so it's basically a flick of the switch to get it going. Yeah. Or we have to do a hell of a lot of work to get this other blockchain to work. So why not just do it on Ethereum? And so, yeah, that's where we're at. And hopefully that Ethereum 2.0 won't disrupt that network effect too much. You know, hopefully it's sort of upgradable, all this infrastructure that's been built.
Well, that's the scary thing about it. I don't know everything about that upgrading, but from what I've gathered a little bit is that, you know, whatever you've done on previous Ethereum, you know, whatever, NFT or whatever, you know, all the, you know, if it's a platform that it's not really active or as active as it was once 2 years ago when you did it, like if they're not upgrading it, then I imagine that platform is going to kind of disappear, and where's your art go as well? So like, I don't know how this is going to look. And that's kind of the scary thing to me is like, you know, there's a lot of short-term thought on a lot of this, and I think the artists, I've seen some people talk about it in the art stuff, but I don't think anybody is looking that far ahead or cares that much. It's more like, oh, what's in front of me? Because some of these new artists that are doing this stuff, especially on this async platform, they're making like $10,000 every piece they put out. So like they don't have time to think about, is it going to be available? They're like, yeah, let me make this thing and put it out and get this money immediately, and I can't blame them for that. But
wait, I don't know. What? $10,000 per piece?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. If you look at the
purely sold in
art,
crypto,
these guys have been making these NFTs now, where you basically own the NFT of each layer of your Photoshop GIF, and then you own the masterwork as well. So they're selling the masterwork and part each layer of the piece, so that then the owners can then essentially rework the piece in real time. The piece will always change because, you know, if you own one layer, you can do something, you can change the color of it, or I don't know exactly, but it's kind of crazy. So that's actually a very innovative thing I've seen in Ethereum pop up lately. You know,
wow, yeah, that's nuts. I guess it disincentivizes having a tidy Photoshop file. Just a shed load of layers.
They're just, they're selling layers, and they did it really smart. I don't know who's behind it, but they got like I think for the first piece, they got 12 of the highest selling super rare artists pretty much, and took their pieces, like a piece that they're known for is sold a lot on that platform, and kind of put it into async and made this like biblical thing that dude a lot of money, a money lotta or whatever, that he's probably the most well-known gift maker in the space, and I think he's helped behind it too. This guy's making a ton of money off of this stuff, but his stuff is really crazy too, though. So, but yeah, look it up, async art. I think they were tops on OpenSea the last week or two, and yeah, super rare itself. I mean, they've had I think $1 million in artist sales over the past like year and a half. So you can't knock any of that. It's all great stuff, and actually, super rare is like the cleanest crypto art site, easily used. Like I can see the appeal to it, and I personally think it's the best one in the space, and it is on Ethereum. But that being said, I know that the guys that do it, and one of them is big into or was at least big into Counterparty as well, and Bitcoin. So they're always looking for ways to integrate that. I feel like all these eventually will have to be kind of chain agnostic for them to really work. You know, because even me, like I bought a piece in 2017, I bought a piece of Xcopy, who's a big artist on that platform, and you know, all his pieces sell for like $1,000 plus, and I bought a piece off of him, and he was on a platform, I can't even remember the platform, it doesn't even exist anymore, but I remember the platform was shutting down, and I think it was on a Ethereum based platform, And he's like, oh, the platform is shutting down. So he needed to mint a new token for me, change the art just a little bit on it, so that it was still a 1-of-1 NFT, and send it to me on the platform on Super Rare. So like, you know, that was a way of him taking it from a chain going dead and putting it onto a new chain. But that type of stuff, if the artists aren't, and the consumer and stuff aren't really, you know, active in this communities, they're not going to know that. And I could have lost, like, I think I spent 1 Ethereum on that piece back then. You know, I could have lost that piece, or it would have been there.
So
but,
it's a little dangerous.
Right.
You know, so
you know what I
it's
mean?
just
They
things
don't
like
really
that.
know.
Yeah.
Unless they're like responsible art owners.
Yeah, and at the same time, you got to be responsible as a platform creator too. Just knowing that this stuff has to last, and you know, that's what I like about Counterparty. There's a decentralized, there's a DEX. You know, like people can argue that DEX is not so decentralized, this and that, because not many people are running nodes, and that's all true. But it's kind of like where it could go. But at the end of the day, there is a decentralized exchange on Counterparty that's built in with the software. And so when I mint a token, I can do it at that base layer no matter what. It can show up on any of the Counterparty platforms. It's not the same with Ethereum, like the ERC20, ERC721, ERC888, et cetera, they're all different. So they don't necessarily all communicate with each other. Now, some of them do, like there are like OpenSea or Rarible.io and stuff. Like they started to implement things where if I mint something on Rarible, I can now see it. My tokens from Super Rare show up on Rarible as well, because I guess they're all 721. But there's not, I don't know if that makes sense, but like it's up to the platform whether or not kind of, you know, you're displaying your art and stuff like that. Just plain and simple with Counterparty. If I make it, it's there, and I can show it, it's there. I don't know how to personally do it on Ethereum, where I could just do it at the base layer and have it show up on other platforms. You have to pretty much sign up with a platform, make it in there, create it with their contract reads it, and it's there. So like it all works in a little bit different way, a more centralized way on Ethereum. You know, and you can argue the whole thing about curation on platforms too. Like I feel like some platforms should be curated. Like if we were going to talk about music probably, but if I was a record label, I wouldn't want to put out a song with my $1 million artist and put it in a giant database with other people's music, because it's just going to get lost in the mix with a bunch of like B, D, C, and F artists on there. I want my own platform. If I'm Warner Brothers, I want to make my own platform to show my tokenization of those artists. And this is what we're promoting here. So I get that whole thing too. So there is a reason. Sometimes there's a reason that you need a decentralized platform, even for the consumer themselves. Like, you know, on Counterparty, you don't need to KYC yourself to buy a token or whatever. But with most of the other platforms, I believe you do. At this point, you pretty much have to sign up, and you know, you have to tie an identity to yourself. So in the real world, you don't have to do that. If I want to buy an art piece mysteriously, I can.
Yeah, I think that, you know, we kind of need these hybrid solutions, especially as we're evolving. Obviously, you know, Tatiana Coin was a counterparty token, and so Tokenly and its product Token.fm, or, you know, the music product and the creative product, it's for counterparty tokens, but we wanted to make it protocol agnostic. So now we're able to do Ethereum tokens as well. And I think that you kind of need that flexibility for now. But what you bring up about counterparty being relevant across all places, I didn't even know that. So that's super cool. I mean, I was thinking maybe I should make an Ethereum token, but why? Then I'm just going to keep burning tokens and printing things. I mean, what am I, the Federal Reserve? I mean, come on now. So I don't know. I think it's a cool space, and I was really happy to see some things happening.
For the experimental sake, sure, you can do that. But can you do that? Like, is that viable for every artist to do? You're an experimenter. You're a creator early in the space, so you can do that, I feel like. But most artists aren't going to care about that. They're not going to like, okay, let me go on Tron, let me go on EOS, let me go on Loom, let me go on all these things. I'm going to create a token, get in these, like, we don't have time for that. You just, nobody has time for that, you know? So it has to.
Sure. Well, I mean, you can give them the default, and then if they want to, you know, default to something else, I mean,
exactly. No,
people
I'm with
should
you.
take some time.
Yeah,
You
I feel
know,
like
like they should know what the hell they're going to go on to, that they're going to print money or whatever. Because it is
the
valuable.
platform that's gonna win probably is one like kind of like what you're talking about with tokens is like something that's platform agnostic where the artist probably doesn't even know, or if they want, they can go to advanced settings if they're like, oh, I want my shit on Bitcoin. So
There
then
you
go to
go. Advanced
settings.
settings, baby.
Yeah,
I like that.
But for the most part, like these artists aren't going to care, and you know, over time, I think more and more people will understand Bitcoin better and for what it is. There's not a marketing campaign that's like tied to a bunch of VCs right now to push it. And that's one of the distressing things about Bitcoin is like, if this tokenization stuff is really a big deal, and Bitcoiners have been a little more vocal about it over the last year, but they let the ball drop for a long time while this went on. So I know I was vocal about it for a long time. How all it takes is a couple early Bitcoiners, to invest in this and make it go how Ethereum was doing it. But they didn't want to flood the block, flood all the blocks with Bitcoin transactions, which I get. They weren't as worried about second layer stuff with the stuff that I think a lot of people thought tokenization itself was silly. I think people are coming around to that, and I think it is a good thing for Bitcoin. I mean, look at Blockstream and Risk and all this other stuff. They're all working on doing the exact same thing now with all that stuff. So
yeah, it's true. I mean, I remember way back in the day, like 2012, something like that. But, when colored coins first sort of started being developed, and we could have these non-fungibles on chain, and that was the thing on the forums was like, no man, you're spamming the network, what a lot of crap, it doesn't need to happen, and all this sort of anti stuff. And it's like, first of all, what the hell is spam? If I'm willing to pay a fee for the transaction, then it's legit,
right.
And it doesn't matter what it's for. That's the whole point of non-fungible. I mean, that's the meaning of non-fungible. It just doesn't matter. Every transaction is valuable, and the whole concept of spam is kind of it's a strange concept. But yeah, so there's always been this sort of anti-token thing in Bitcoin. One of the people that really brought tokens to the forefront was Adam B. Levine. He was constantly going on about token this, token that. Even the name of his thing is Token Lee. So but generally Bitcoiners have always been anti, and that's been unfortunate. And you're right, they dropped the ball. I think we should have been
people developing. Like Greg Maxwell and Luke Dash were in the comments like hating on anybody that even considered like a colored coin or a Counterparty or any of these other second layer things.
And but Kolu came along really early on. They got some VC funding, and they sort of took off in Israel. I remember going on holiday down there. I was just like checking it out because I'd never been, and seen all these little Kolu badges all over the place, and thinking, wow, it's really this sort of thing took off as local economy stuff, kind of like the Brixton pound in which is sort of a local economy coin that's pegged to the pound. But I've always found it fascinating, and I always was sad that Bitcoin as a community sort of poo-pooed it.
Yeah. What's the point of all this technology without a little love in our lives? Our hosts, Tatiana Moroz, Dr. Stephanie Murphy, and Lauren Kasovitz, have come together to bring you Proof of Love. Go to proofoflovecast.com.
It's in their face now. That's right. Adam B. Levine in his house. I'm sorry, but he doesn't get enough credit. I'm just saying. There are a lot of people that were thinking about that, but Adam was really at the forefront, and I don't know. I have so much respect for him. I'm really happy to see that Tokenly is doing well, and that Token.fm is kind of has some good plans for 2020. So I don't know. We'll have to be talking about that next time. Maybe we'll bring him on the show. I'd love to have you on.
He had that LTBC coin for a while. I mean, he was even traded on Poloniex, and it was like the rewards program for bloggers.
I made money off of that.
Right, and that was, I mean, that was really like the first working like concept that was really spread across, I think, Bitcoin, at least in a small sector of Bitcoin. before anything else. And also, like,
Absolutely.
you look at, like, I think Vox Media just put out, I think it was Vox, some website like that just put out one of those awards tokens, just announced it like the other day, and it's the exact same thing as something that Adam did like 5 years ago. So, you know, much respect to him on that.
Well,
Much respect. Great thinker
totally.
and a great guy as well.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, he's over at CoinDesk now. He's working on the podcasting network over there, but no matter what, like, we're still in contact all the time. And I don't know. I mean, I got to say, I really like working with him for a long time now. Like, we've been doing it since 2014 or whatever. And we've been friends since even before that. And I don't know, like, a solid person. And I really respect that, like, Let's Talk Bitcoin as a show. I mean, they also don't really get as much. I don't know. Right now, like, there's certain shows that are popular. Everybody's like, oh my God, this person, blah, blah, blah. But really, LTB is one of the best podcasts. And actually, you know, I was thinking about your podcast, Jeff. You were doing a lot of art on the blockchain content. So are you, you know, what are you doing now with that? Are you thinking about going into that at all? Do you want to maybe bring up some more of these topics? You can come on the show and talk with us about it anytime. We can unpack some projects together.
Yeah, I've actually thought about revamping that a little bit. I just haven't had time, and but maybe, yeah. I love talking about it. I just haven't had. That was a lot of you know, from I did, you know, Cynthia was definitely part of it. She's a co-host, and she did the news segment. But every, you know, pretty much I booked the guests. I did all the post-production, which took like 20 hours of my meticulous time of editing it together, and so it's just a lot of work. So I don't think I did enough in trying to get sponsors for the show, so it became like kind of like a time suck for me. And after a while, I think we did, you know, about 50 hours of content on all that stuff, and I was kind of just burnt out after a couple of years of that.
Is it still up online?
Yeah, I leave it up for historical purposes. But you know, the first one we did was with Adam from Tokenly, so I mean, that was like what.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So,
oh, I gotta listen to that.
I think Adam put it on. Yeah, the first one we did actually was on the LTB network. Like it was called Art on the Blockchain pilot episode. Yeah, so that was cool. You know, that I think our podcast definitely, it came out at a time a year before like the big art festival in 2018. We started in 2017. Like our first like year of guests were like really like, you know, more low key. It was, you know, we were really working to find guests. And then after that, after the Rare Art Fest happened, everybody started having companies. And it was super. I mean, we had requests every day for people trying to come on the show and stuff like that. Like the crypto art scene just happened so quick and it blew up. And, you know, maybe to transition to that, like, I think that music should and will have that similar type of excitement around it. Something's going to happen. And I'm kind of, you know, I think both of us are trying to find that, be on that cutting edge of that and trying to make it happen. Because you know, music and a lot of the stuff that I'm involved in, like collectibles are a big part of it too. People sell, you know, like maybe a limited edition records or bobblehead dolls, or, you know, USBs that are made out of like guns and just weird things. They're collectibles, but the fans need tangible products. And as the internet has come and streaming services and stuff, they don't get the tangible stuff as much unless they go to a show. So these tokens can kind of act as tangible goods online. They can, you know, give you access to things. They can show you, you know, just a cool, you know, your wallet. It can be displayed in a fresh and funky way, whatever you want to say, that shows that you're supporting, like in a Patreon way, that you've bought this album. You bought it early. You bought it October 16, 2016. You were one of the first ones. You could be rewarded for that somehow. You know, you can have a band that, you know, only puts out 10 tokens, and those 10 tokens, whoever holds them at that time, you know, they're able to get things from the band that other people aren't getting. So it creates a market, and people are going to want those. So it creates a secondary market where those 10 tokens are possibly being traded, sold, borrowed, lended out. You could create, you know, a lending thing through it. Now, all this stuff is possible, but some of the laws and regulations also battle those ideas as well, especially like the lending your token out. Just those ideas. I mean, just the simple fact of the DJ Pepe token. If you own the DJ Pepe token, you get to go to an exclusive website that has cutting room floor material of mine that's not out anywhere else. So that's the basics of what I think could be, and like kind of built from there. Is like you're just giving the fan an experience that they can't get otherwise with these tokens. And the tokens can also be used as like skins in games. Developers can, like, communities of developers can get together and say, all right, this token is gonna be this and that, this and that. You don't even have, like, even as the owner of tokens, like, I remember when Adam and me were doing something on Token FM back in 2016, 17, I made some tokens, put them on Token FM when it was just in the testing phase, and he took my token and programmed it to also give away his music. That was without anything to do with me, and that's something that, you can do. So there's things that you can do that aren't possible otherwise. So you can latch on to another brand or something. Like, you could probably stop that from happening as well, but the fact that you can do it is something that, you can open Pandora's box in that way. And I think the fans owning, or not owning, but having exclusive music too, or something like that, or exclusive art, then they can become part of the whole rollout, the campaign, the branding. They can control, like, all right, like the Martin Shkreli owned the Wu-Tang album for $1 million or whatever. It's the same kind of concept. Like, whoever owned that, I don't know what all the contract rights were for it, but let's say you can throw an event and play the album, and only people that come to the event will be able to hear it, and you can kind of control that. And that's a different thing that isn't able to happen now. Now, do you need tokens? Do you need all this stuff? You could argue, no, you can do this stuff without it. But the tokenization stuff of all this stuff makes it easier, in my opinion. And there is a kind of developing economy and infrastructure and marketplace for this. And at the end of the day, all art and music is marketing anyway. So this is the same thing. Like, you're marketing your tokens, you're marketing your music. It's all the same thing. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Those are some good insights. Sasha Hodler, who you know pretty well, she's actually going to come on the show soon and talk a little bit about the legal ramifications of some of that stuff. I know the SEC just sent out a press release this morning. So I'm curious to kind of get her thoughts on some of it, because that has definitely been a little bit tricky. Because the innovation is so fun and free, but it's not so fun and free if you think, oh crap, I could go to jail by accident. Nobody's trying to do that. And it's definitely stifled our growth. We could have done, an ICO for token.fm, and that might have made sense because it's a music platform or a creatives platform, right? It could be adjusted to a few things. So there's a lot of people who could be interested in that. And we were advised, don't do it. And we said, you're right. That's the move, because, you don't want to necessarily poke the bear. So I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a little bit of a bummer.
And on top of what you're saying, like, that's true, because I had a business plan, about 20 pages. I had in 2018. I was going to do an ICO for a music token, the same thing, and I stopped short.
Well,
you don't want it.
If they choose to pick on you,
I didn't want. It's not even to choose to pick on me. Sure, I could. Would I be willing to die on that hill or not? That's my decision. But the fact is, if I'm doing that and bringing artists in to do that and trying to get them into the space and show them what to do, and then they get screwed, it's going to ruin the whole thing, because then you're trying to onboard, like, artists that have a following or whatever, and then all of a sudden they're getting hit with legal cases because of some blockchain shit they didn't give a fuck about, and then that everything goes to hell. So that was my biggest fear, is like, I don't want to bring these people in and have them get charged with, every time they make a token, they're getting charged for making an ICO and have to pay fines, and just that just brings up a whole railroad of problems.
Yeah,
absolutely.
we did the
that was
same
my
thing.
concern too. You can sign up an artist, and then all of a sudden they're gonna get in trouble, and then it's your fault. Oh, great PR for Bitcoin, guys. It's terrible.
Right.
Yeah, it's really sad, because this technology allows for such amazing concepts, but of course, you get a whole bunch of scammers coming in and ruining it for everyone else because they're going around scamming the hell out of people. But then there's also legitimate people trying wacky new economic theory and being called scammers when they're not. They've got, you know, a scammer is basically someone who goes out from the get-go to try to take other people's money without even the thought of actually producing something of value.
Sure.
And then there's people that evolve into scammers as they see it's not working and they think, oh, well, I'll just take the money and run. But generally, there's these people that are really just trying something wacky. And the problem is that I've said this before, but that the state has protected the general person so much from any risk that apart from like poker, slot machines or dog races or, you know, horse races, but where they can lose all their money. But they've protected them from all this risk of actually investing in real things that people just go out there and you see them. Like when OneCoin came out, stadiums of people for OneCoin and BitConnect, and just these dickheads, sorry to say, but they're absolutely no idea what a scam looks like because they've just been so protected from risk. And we need to understand what risk looks like again. And it's
that's a good point.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you know, people need to burn their hands before they realize that the candle's hot, and then they won't do it again. You know.
Yeah, exactly. How you think of it the same way you raise your kids. Like, you don't just protect your kids from everything and tell them. Like, they have to go out and experiment to learn it too. Like, you learn it a lot quicker by burning your hand to the flame than grandma telling you you're gonna burn your hand to the flame. Like, boom.
Like,
all right,
whatever.
I found out. Goodbye. I'm done. I found out. All right, I know what a scam is. And you're right.
Flame's just hot when
most of these things
you were
don't start out as scams. Like that word scam has breeded a whole new. It's the meaning is enveloped into something huge. That's not what it is anymore. Like
the meaning's
just calling
totally lost, lost, and it's terrible because a scam is a really terrible thing to do to someone. It's legitimately horrible, and basically, when people hear, "Oh, OneCoin's a scam and Ethereum's a scam," better not go near that because you know, or they go, "Well, if Ethereum's a scam and OneCoin's a scam, well, Ethereum's obviously got millions and millions of people, so OneCoin, they're just calling it a scam, and it's not." But of course it is, you know, and this is what I find really upsetting about a lot of these people, especially high-profile people. Jimmy Song, for instance, just calls everything a scam. Coinbase, everything's a scam. You know, I like those guys. I'm friends with them. You know, I don't want to call them out, but I just find it a little bit silly to call everything a scam apart from Bitcoin.
Yeah, it doesn't get your point across when you do that. Like, and people like, you know, and I too. Tone's a great guy, but he overgeneralizes with that word, and I feel like he's kind of lost. If he calls something a scam, most people in the space that have been following for a while aren't going to take that exactly how he says it now, because he's called everything a scam. So you know, you're kind of narrowing your view on that. But
maybe it's a routine, you know, maybe that's like the shtick.
Sure, but it's not helpful either, you know. Like, I get what he thinks Bitcoin is the only thing, it's a store of value, it's nothing else. I get that. You're entitled to that. I don't agree with it. I think that you can do it. I think Bitcoin is more like freedom of speech, and it's a lot of things you can do on top of, you know, if you do with it. And maybe you can't, but at the end of the day, like Josh said, it's an experiment. You can experiment with it and figure out what you can and can't do. Like, so whatever.
Yep.
All right, guys. So let's rein it in here, because I like our philosophical discussions and they're good. But Scrilla, you have an upcoming record, and then you've also got some plans to come up to New York for the Rare AF Art Festival, I guess. So that's during the Consensus Week. Tell me a little bit about that.
So the album is called Sound Money. It's a musical project with some art accompanying it that I did. That is just a musical rendition of Bitcoin flowing music. I don't know how else to say it, but I created, it's about 25 minutes of just music. It has to do with Bitcoin. I took a lot of popular media stuff and kind of chopped it up, put it in the scratch format and sampled it and put it throughout the album. I got a couple rappers that have pretty good buzz going. Uncle John and Rome Streets, K Beta and Fleetwood DeVille all make appearances on it, and they're rapping about Bitcoin, which I think is cool because these guys, I pulled them particularly because I'm fans of their music and I already know that they've rapped about Bitcoin or they've talked about it or they've discussed it, and they're not in the space necessarily. So like them doing that outside the space is really interesting to me because they're actually using it. They don't give a fuck about the way we care about Bitcoin. They just care about, like, some of these guys use it in the dark market. Some of these guys use it as investing. But they're not part of, like, they're not in the space. They're not listening to Bitcoin podcasts or following Bitcoin news day to day. They know about it for other reasons. And so I brought their perspective into the album. So I think it's cool. And I think that, I'm going to really go ahead and promote this album. I think that it's good. Like, if you're a trader or like a Bitcoiner, like, this is the type of music they should always have on in the background all the time. Like, I kind of made it for that reason too. Hopefully I can get into some Bitcoin documentaries and cryptocurrency stuff. So I don't know. We'll see what it looks like. As far as the WERA Art Festival, I think they're doing that in May, around Consensus Week. The first two WERA Art Festivals I was a part of, and they were really good. The first one was like groundbreaking. That was the one that kind of united the whole crypto art front back in January 2018 and kind of kicked it off. The last one was good too. The last one was less fanfare, more like developers and kind of like a hodgepodge of people in the industry. I hope this one has, again, like the first one, more like regular people are coming, more art collectors, more music people, more people just curious about the space. And in January 2018, the first one was kind of the lead up to the bull market. So I think that's also why there was like several hundred, there was like 400 people there. The last one I think had like maybe 150 people or 200 people there. And it was during the bear market. We're looking more at a bull market, hopefully then. Now, depending on, that should get more interest from outside folks. But again, we got the coronavirus, so I don't know what's going to happen if people are even going to go to events then. So
that's
it's a little
true.
scary.
What a bummer. Yeah, New York is kind of dirty because it's such a big city, and it's kind of a dirty city, to be honest. I heard on the radio they're like, oh, we're going to sanitize the whole subway every 3 days. And I'm thinking, wait, is this something special? Because I think it should happen every day, just in general. I was shocked that it doesn't. So anyway, whatever. We'll see. I think we'll all survive. We'll know more by the time this episode airs. Do you want to give us some other info, anything else that you want to talk about? Because I wanted to get you some of your links and some things that people can go do at home and listen and check out. So yeah, fill us in.
Yeah, just go to rarescrilla.com. I've got right now, it's kind of like more geared, the website right now is geared to buy some Bitcoin merchandise and NFTs. I got some music and the links on there, some older music. But yeah, that's where you can find out about me. I've done some writing and stuff too. I still have to do some crypto writing for Hacker Noon and some other ones. But yeah, basically the music, the album Sound Money's coming out. I also have a couple of regular hip hop albums that I've produced coming out that are going to get some good looks this year, but I'd rather not discuss them just yet. I'm going to kind of let them hit. One of them I think is coming out April 1st on April Fool's Day. It's like a surprise release. So be looking out for that.
That music.
Yeah, anything you see produced by Guns and Butter or J Scrilla, just go grab that. It's important that you listen. Not
Very
really
cool.
important. It's important to me, but probably important for you to change your life.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks so much for chatting with us today. I hope when you guys are listening to this, you're safe from coronavirus. I want to say a special thank you to our sponsor, eToro. They've been a sponsor of the Tatiana Show for a while now. You can go to eToro.com, find out more information. And I don't know, Josh, you got any final words? I guess we'll see you guys next time. The Tatiana Show airs on Tuesdays, and you can listen at thetatianashow.com. Check out our socials. Say hello at Queen Tatiana. That's my Twitter. You can also check out our other show, Proof of Lovecast, which, Josh, we still have to have you on.
Yeah.
Josh, so yeah, give us your links and we're going to say sayonara.
Oh, yeah. Well, if people want to keep in touch with me, I'm at J Scrilla at well, that's it, at J Scrilla on Twitter, and also at Voltoro. And yeah, that's where we keep all our vital signs out to the world. And yeah, check out Voltoro.com if you want to hedge some of that crypto in physical metals.
Okay, everybody, stay safe, stay alive.
Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
everybody. Bye. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey there, it's time for the show, the Tatiana Show, where you make friends and talk life and crypto. We gotta think and reflect and use lots of intellect with our hearts when we work together. I know that it can be so hard out there, looking all around and saying that life ain't fair. So that is why we will fight and stay up late at night, listening to the Tatiana Show. The Tatiana Show has been brought to you by CryptoMediaHub.com, a boutique marketing and PR agency for Bitcoin and beyond. Thank you for listening to The Tatiana Show. Please follow us on Twitter at Queen Tatiana or on Facebook and Instagram at Tatiana Moroz Music. More episodes can be found at thetatianashow.com, and make sure you leave a review on iTunes and tell your friends. You are listening to The Tatiana Show. This show may contain adult content, language, and humor and is intended for mature audiences. If that's not you, please stop listening. Nothing you hear on The Tatiana Show is intended as financial advice, legal advice, or really anything other than entertainment. Take everything you hear with a grain of salt. Oh, and if you're listening to us on an affiliate network, the ideas and views expressed on this show are not necessarily those of the network that you're listening on or of any sponsors or any affiliate products you may hear about on this show. Now that that's squared away, let's start the show.